Welcome back to the T Plumbing, Heating, and Air podcast. I'm Lane Williams. I'm here with James Salinas. James, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, man. My name's James. I've been in the field for about 7 or 8 years. I'm now the supervisor at To The T. We're here to make this company grow.
All right, HVAC specialist here. What kind of certifications do you hold?
I currently hold my EPA certification and a universal. I have my contractor's license. And a couple other certifications. I have an R410A cert, a couple class certifications. I also went to a trade school and hold a HVAC certification for that as well.
Okay, and how many years have you been in the industry?
I've been active for going on 8 years this year.
Okay, all right. And so you moved up, worked for smaller companies, or have you really just tried to stay at the same place? And
try to stay at the same place for the long time. My last company I was with for 7 years started off as a green, slowly progressed to install into service, into an HVAC supervisor role, and basically just an all well-rounded individual when it comes to the technical side of things and residential application and some light commercial.
Okay, so sounds like when you got out of school, you went to one company and you were there for a long time. Mm-hmm. Is that just kind of, is that a loyalty thing for you? Is it you just like, I don't know, consistency? What is it?
I like to be loyal to places. Mm-hmm. The biggest change that happened at my previous company was just the culture changed. Mm-hmm. We grew it from a substantially smaller company to, in the 7 years I was there, 6 to 7 years I was there, we grew it about 6 times.
Oh, wow.
So the culture changed, the atmosphere changed, and it wasn't really what I was looking for anymore. I have 3 questions that I live by when it comes to doing these things. Is it good for the company? Is it good for the customer? And is it good for myself? Mm-hmm. If I can answer all 3 of those questions wherever I'm at, I shouldn't be in any type of trouble, anything beyond that.
Okay.
And those questions started not getting checked, and I have morals.
Okay.
And I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah, so a man of ethics, huh?
Yeah, so, exactly.
So what was it about To The T that attracted you?
The biggest thing with To The T was the culture. Mm-hmm. The way they stand behind their customers, the way they take care of their customers, it's exactly what I want to be a part of and help grow into what I once had. And it's just, at the bottom line, it's just we take care of our customers. We go above and beyond with service just to take care of them and to give you that really service that was once a standard for every company. Mm-hmm. And now it's just more of a past tense thing. It's
dollars and
bring
cents.
Me the money.
Yeah,
bring me the money.
Yeah.
And I really like that culture. I like developing relationships with my customers to where it's not just a customer stand base. It's we're almost on that friend level.
Right. Well, and it's a micro relationship, right, that you build with your customer. That then all of a sudden there's trust that gets built, and then they know that you're not going to overcharge them. You're going to give them options, and they're going to be in charge.
Yeah. I love to be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to be that guy, and that's what To The T has offered me thus far.
Awesome, man. I love it. I want to get into a few, tips and tricks and some informational gathering for our listeners. So as far as understanding HVAC trends, what would you say are current trends in HVAC technology that homeowners should be aware of?
I think the biggest trend in the recent years has really been indoor air quality products, especially with what we went through 5 years ago at this time with the coronavirus. It's just indoor air quality. We have products that help clean air, disinfect, sanitize, and really just keep the air quality in your home clean. Especially living in the Austin region, our air quality is very poor overall. Really? So now we can clean your home with devices that we can install in your HVAC equipment.
What would you contribute? I mean, we don't have a big city like New York or LA right next to us. What would you contribute the air quality to? Is it pollen?
It's just the seasons, allergies, seasons, all the building and the construction we're doing. We don't really have any more space in Austin, so we're starting just to build everything up.
Oh, I got you.
So all of that can definitely be a part of it, and especially with how fast we're building in surrounding areas with dust and pollen and all the allergies that we have.
So how would you say that advancements in HVAC technology have impacted energy efficiency in recent years?
It's impacted energy efficiency in a lot of ways. We always have a minimal standard in HVAC, and it changes about every 5 to 10 years.
You mean it goes up?
It goes up.
Okay.
So we want to take the load off our grid, off our power supplies. So it's always going up. We have equipment out there now that is completely monitored remotely. I can know things before you ever know them. I can order parts. I can cut my time in half by having a part. Your system flags me, sends me a notification, and I can go order that part, get to your home, fix it without you experiencing minimal to no downtime. I don't have to make multiple trips. So
right, and it could be under warranty too, so it's not going to cost you anything.
Absolutely.
Right, that's awesome.
And we're just taking care of you before it gets.
Yeah, that's awesome. So as far as maintenance best practices, what are the most important HVAC maintenance tasks that homeowners should perform to prepare for hot summer months?
The hot summer is the big thing. There's 3 things that a homeowner can do. Filter changes, very important. Changing those consistently makes your home cleaner, catches more dust, catches more debris in the home. Drain maintenance, pouring a half cup to a cup of vinegar down that drain line as often as you change that filter can help keep it clean. You're not going to have those 12 o'clock nights where your system turns off. And then cleaning that outdoor condenser coil. Getting a water hose on the shower setting and just rinsing it off, getting all that dirt to help that unit actually dissipate that heat better.
Okay. So how often should homeowners schedule professional HVAC maintenance, and what should that maintenance include?
Professional maintenance should be done at least twice a year.
Okay.
One in the spring, one in the fall. And I always recommend before the season starts. Be the early bird, don't be the late bird.
Don't wait till those 100-degree days.
Exactly. And then when it's 80 degrees, we have time. If there's things coming up, you have time for a decision if something's majorly wrong. When it's hot and we're going, we got to move. We got to go. Of course, we're going to provide you that service, but it really puts a fire under you.
Right.
Because instead of you taking 2 weeks and it's 75 degrees outside and you technically don't need your air conditioner, it's 103. Your house is 92.
Oh, man.
My big saying to that, don't go to the grocery store hungry. Don't buy an AC when you're hot.
Yeah.
Learn and just progress with it.
Yeah. So would you share some of the common HVAC maintenance mistakes that homeowners make and then, how to avoid them?
The biggest mistake I see with homeowners is we have a lot of construction going on. We have new houses popping up left and right. The biggest mistake I see is that people just don't do the maintenance. They buy a new house, the system's brand new, it works great, everything's perfect on it. It's like when you buy that new car, everything's smooth, you're not going to really have any problems, you may or may not, but people won't do their first maintenance for 4 or 5 years.
Right, you got to do the oil change, you got
to
to
do the oil change, got to change your tires, got to get them rotated.
Yeah.
But with HVAC, if you start early, we get to keep it in that like new for longer. Versus you waiting 4 or 5 years, then I come out, recommend all these things, and you're like, why is all this coming up? Well, these are all things that year 2 we could have done that. Year 3 we could have done that. So it just reduces expenses as well.
Well, speaking of expenses, cost-saving strategies, what are some of the effective strategies homeowners can use to reduce their HVAC energy consumption usage?
Just going back to that question a couple seconds ago, clean that outdoor coil. Change the filter. When those get plugged, you're causing a lot of strain on that equipment. When you cause strain, you're going to increase that energy. You're going to increase that efficiency or decrease that efficiency. By doing those simple things, it's going to let that system breathe. Just imagine when COVID was a big thing, I always use this as a scenario. Imagine you wearing a mask, like a K95 versus a regular surgical mask. That K95 is hard to breathe in. When you get a lot of dirt and dust on that, imagine your system trying to breathe at that point.
Okay.
It's just tough for it. It'll still cool. It's just tough.
So choosing the right HVAC system, what factors do you think that homeowners should consider when choosing the right HVAC system?
So that's a great question. But at the end of the day, I believe a box is a box. Now, of course, some boxes do different than this box. It's like when you go buy a car, you got the base model, you got the fully loaded. You want the bells and whistles or you just want to get A to B. My biggest thing when buying an HVAC equipment is picking the company. You need to find the company that's going to be honest, loyal, and take care of you. With us, we're going to always stand behind you. I always provide more. I always find more value in the customers that already spent money with me because you believed in me. Right. So I want to return that favor to you and take care of you for the life of that new equipment.
Yeah, that makes sense. So how do the needs for HVAC systems vary geographically?
So geographically, being Texas, we're in the South. Right. We experience very brutal summers, hot, humid summers. So with that, we're going to spend more time in that cooling season. You go to the West, we have more of that dry heat. And you go farther up north, we're going to have those brutal winters, inches of snow. I don't do snow. Right. Not at all. That's why I live in Texas. The last couple of years we've had snow. I've hated every second of it. I prefer the heat. So that's the big thing. Being in the South, we're going to prioritize that AC side substantially. Right.
Well, whenever we're prioritizing that, what's the pros and cons and the differences that you'd see between like central air, window units, and then also I've heard people talk about heat pump versus conventional. Mm-hmm. Like what are the differences and what are the pros and cons?
So the biggest pros and cons, they all have their pros and cons and they all have their place. With central air conditioning, it's going to be your most efficient, mm-hmm. the most comfortable for your home as far as noise level goes, efficiency goes. Window units do have a great place, though. We utilize them all the time at To The T. When we have catastrophic failures to where we can't fix the problem immediately or we're 2 days out on an install, we'll provide you a window unit to allow you some comfort. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to go rent a hotel room. So you can stay in your home. Yeah, you're not going to use all your space, but we can get a room at 75 degrees so you can sleep. Right. With mini splits are awesome. They're awesome little units that we can put almost anywhere. They're so versatile. Especially with COVID, when that happened a number of years ago, a lot of people were converting their garages into into offices or mm-hmm. workout spaces just because they couldn't go anywhere. And mini splits allowed us to directly cool and heat this space without upgrading your HVAC equipment. It's never a good idea to add a duct from your existing HVAC system in.
Because it wasn't designed to carry that load.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The biggest con in mini splits is a lot of people are just scared of them. Mm-hmm. They don't want to service them unless they install them. They're just very scared of that technology. You mean as
far as the technicians are scared of them?
Yes, the technicians are typically scared of. I worked for companies that people would just flat out refuse to go work on them just because they're just scared of them. Mm-hmm. They're not hard things. Everything's there for you. You just have to take it step by step and progress your way through it.
Okay, yeah. And so sticking in that vein with mini splits, what are the applications that you would say is good for a mini split, and what's the application that you'd say is not good for a mini split?
There's multiple types of mini splits. The most common one are going to be like a traditional head unit, which is designed to cool an open space. I have people that would call me and they want a mini split for 3 different enclosed areas, and I can do it, but this enclosed area has 2 rooms in the corner. I'm not going to be able to cool that corner room.
With the mini split in that big room.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So it really comes down to what you want to do it. They do sell ducted mini splits.
Oh, wow.
But then at that point, we could talk about just a traditional HVAC unit versus going mini. Minis are very prone to, they're cost effective, especially to cool a large space.
Okay. So let's talk about indoor air quality. So would you discuss some of the importance of air filters, HVAC systems, and how often they should be changed, as well as you kind of touched on it earlier, some of the new technology for indoor air quality?
Filters are very important. All homes are different though. I used to do a lot of work in Sun City. It's a retirement community, 55 and over. They don't have a lot of people. They may have a dog, but overall their homes are substantially cleaner. So I've seen a filter go up to 3 months there. And then like in my personal home, I have a dog, I got 3 kids, I have a wife, we're always there, we're in and out. I have to change my filter every month just because of how much more traffic I have in that home. Right. And then some homes are a little bit older that have some air leaks that let air from the outside come in, and it's just catching all that. So every home's different. I always tell people at least monthly is just best case. We're creatures of habit. Mm-hmm. What was the second part of that question?
Just talk about So if you could kind of look at new technologies for indoor air quality, I know that you mentioned some technology earlier.
So the biggest things we have right now, one that's really come to market is a Decon 7 treatment. Decon 7 treatment, it's a hydrogen peroxide based treatment. It's a 3-part formula that we mix on site. It's safe around pets, safe around food. No one has to leave the home, but we disinfect and neutralize the entire evaporator coil, air handler cabinet, evaporator coil case. And what that's doing is just giving you a clean starting ground with all that bacteria disinfected.
So it's getting rid of all the organic growth.
All the organic matter. Yeah. Now, it's not removing the staining or if it's there,
right,
but it's actually neutralizing it on a microscopic level. The big thing I love about Decon 7 is that I also like to follow it up with like a indoor air quality product, so like a Remy Halo, a Solaris Whole Home Kit, or even a air scrubber by NASA. And what that's going to do is help clean all the air in your home as the unit operates. It helps with odors, pet dander, a lot of common bacteria, and it just basically cleans every surface air touches.
Talk about how the indoor air quality devices work. What technology do they utilize?
So they use UV lighting. So we have a UV light, and then depending on which one we're utilizing, some of them have true ionization process. So what I mean by a true ionization is that you basically charge particles in the air, negative and positively. When that happens, it's only going to stay charged for about 8 feet. So we want to put it near a filter. So as these things bond, they connect. And then as far as the like Remy Halo device, it releases hydrogen peroxides and PCOs in the air that will help neutralize basically anything that air touches as far as that common bacteria and viruses.
So the Remy Halo actually uses UV light and it releases hydrogen peroxides into the air so that it kills,
neutralizes, and just helps keep the air clean at the end of the day.
That's good technology, man. So in what ways do you see smart home technology further integrating with HVAC systems in the coming years?
I kind of touched up on this a little bit earlier, but the big thing is that remote access.
Right.
I have systems on the market right now that are going to come with a 10-year monitoring system. So basically what that means is that we have basically a website that we can go to. We link everything to this website, and I can go in to your unit and see how it's performing, from the refrigerant pressures to the amp readings, all remotely. I have other systems that I can basically ask you to tap into your thermostat, and it stores all the data in the thermostat. So there's a little box that pops up on your screen. You hit yes, I'm in. And then I can start looking at all the data that it has, because you're telling me it does this weird thing at 2 a.m.
Right.
And obviously, I can't be there at 2 a.m. But now I can go and see this data for the last 3 weeks at 2 a.m. Oh, it's doing this. Then it gives me a little bit of a foundation to go and actually fix your problem without actually being there.
Okay.
It gives me a right idea.
And can you set performance guidelines as well, and then have notifications? If there's a failure or something along those lines, will it automatically send you a notification?
It will send me a notification when I get on the website. It'll kind of give me this thermostat. I build a location to you, and then it'll say this unit, and it'll give me the code.
Okay.
So that code can help me order the part, reduce downtime, and just help you stay online.
Right. Then we reach out and say, hey, we noticed a failure here. You're going to start seeing a difference. When can we get scheduled to come out?
Correct. And then the cool thing is, instead of making 2 trips, where the one trip I got to diagnose, the second trip I got to come back and fix with the part, I already have the part. I get there, verify the diagnosis, and then I get to fix it on site.
Okay. So, James, what are some basic maintenance best practices that a homeowner can do themselves without having to have us out there?
The biggest 3 things that a homeowner can do is going to be change the filter. That's the big one. I go to so many homes where that filter looks like carpet. Get it swapped out. Flush your drain line and treat your drain line. So with about a half cup to cup of vinegar, white distilled from Walmart or HEB, and then wash that condenser coil. Get your water hose, put it on the shower setting, and just turn the system off and start from the top and work your way down. You're going to see like chocolate melt coming out the bottom. Just rinse it till it's done.
Okay. So then now I'm going to touch on something. You've talked about this drain hose a few times. So what we've got is we've got our AC unit. We've got a pan underneath it to catch condensation, and then there's a drain line. Can you talk a little bit about that drain line? I know that there is basically a sensor that'll shut your system down if it's going to leak right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that there's been a few times that we've shown up at places that people's system's not working, and you're like, oh, it's just this simple, and you unplug it, and you actually show them that. Can you give me an example of where this has happened and you've helped someone out?
So definitely. Basically, with the drain line upstairs, we're producing water in that coil. We're producing condensation. That's how we're removing humidity, and it drains out. Over time, when that unit is not running water or just too much water is being formed, we start to develop organic growth in it, sediment, corrosion from the coil. So the big thing is we install safety switches. These safety switches help prevent water damage to your home, but they also turn off your air conditioner.
Okay.
Which is, at the end of the day, you may be hot for a couple hours, but it's going to save you money from water damage.
Water damage, right.
The big thing with it is, I've done it so far where I've got a phone call at 10 o'clock at night from being on call. I asked the homeowners, like, I don't have time to get out there tonight. Do you have FaceTime? Based off what you're telling me, I feel like I know exactly what the problem is. I just need to see it in your home. So they FaceTimed me. I kind of explained to them what they had, asked them if they had any tools, and we ended up getting their AC back online within about 20 minutes of them doing
Over
some
FaceTime.
Over FaceTime.
Wow. Okay.
And that's the big thing. Because at the end of the day, man, I want people to be comfortable when they sleep. I'm not trying to leave you hot. If I can teach you something over the phone, I'm okay with that.
Right. So can you talk a little bit about the To the T Club plan and what you do when you come out in the spring? I know that right now it's starting to get hot, so it's probably time for some visits.
Yeah, absolutely. So with our club plan, what you're getting out of that is 15% off all repairs, 5% off equipment replacement, priority service. You're also going to get a spring and a fall check, as well as a water heater flush. Primarily with the cooling check, especially with that coming up this year, what you're getting on it, a couple things you're going to get on it is I'm going to check your refrigerant pressures. I'm going to check the entire outdoor unit, so the capacitors, the amp draw readings, make sure that coil's nice and clean. I'm going to water wash it for you. On that indoor side, I'm going to make sure that your blower motor is looking good. You don't have a lot of buildup on that blower wheel. Make sure you have no air leaks in your attic or in your closet, depending on the location of your unit. I'm also going to take care of that drain. I like to clear the drain on every maintenance I do, as well as treat it. I use some pan tablets, which are just basically chlorine tablets that I drop down that drain line to help break down any growth in that line.
Okay. So thanks again for joining us for the To the T Plumbing, Heating, and Air podcast. Today we had James Salinas, our HVAC manager. Coming up, we'll have a lot of new exciting content for you guys.